Our Connoisseurs, with great pleasure, introduces you to Anne-Elise Pemberton. She is a wonderful glass artist, has been working in the medium of glass for over 15 years after a very, very successful career as a translator in England. She took those skills and combined them with some other intuitive skills that she has to really create glass pieces that are in themselves, each one is a work of art. Anne, we're here in Anne's home today, and she's going to show us some finished products. We have also covered some items that let you know how Anne creates these pieces, and you can check that out on one of our other interviews with Anne. But for the moment, we're going to cover finished pieces in Anne's home. Anne, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Joyce.
Good.
And,
we have a beautiful piece here. We're going to start off with this particular piece. Anne, what is the title of it?
This is called Brainstorm. I wanted to show what goes on in the mind during the creative process, so you have ideas just flooding your mind. And I have three layers of glass powder panels. I showed you how I use glass powders downstairs in the studio. And these are mounted on sheet glass, window glass, so that it's absolutely clear. And then it's a completely open frame, so I have slots that divide these pieces of glass, so you have an inch space in between each panel. And then I've worked some of these panels are fused about 3 times, because I want the holes to get exactly the right shape and the right colours as well. And then the panels behind show different imagery so that one looks good behind the other. In fact, I had to make 6 panels in order to get 3
good ones.
It shrinks and then has different effects. This is
now this is another smaller piece.
Yes, it's made using the same process. I've used a lot more clear glass in this, and I've used also some sand-blasted glass in order to diffuse the light a little bit in the background, and I've used some special bits of bone on the front as well, and I call this one Coral. And you can see the variety of style you can get from using glass powder. Really,
and this is a glass
you can
powder
create
piece.
anything with it.
We're going to go into another room, but before we do that, Anne also does photography. And this is a beautiful rendition of some of Anne's photography work.
It was a recent trip to the canal and the river, and the light was very beautiful. And then I worked on this extensively. I did a lot of editing in Photoshop and produced different colours.
And this is right in the canal here, the C&O
yes,
canal.
This is
That's
just
right.
by Cabin John Bridge, and I wanted something that was slightly mystical. This is called Nirvana, and I wanted it to reflect things like dreams and ideals, and at the same time the reality of nature, the fragility and the power of nature.
This is, as I said, this is some of Anne's photographic work.
This is printed on watercolour paper as well.
That enhances it, because I'm looking at this and the colors that pop out from the page are just wonderful, because you look at this is a winter scene and you always think in terms of winter as being sort of gray and dismal, but this photograph doesn't say anything that's dismal or gray. I mean, it's just so hopeful, so much aspiration comes out of it. So you've done a beautiful job on this one.
Thank
We're going to
you.
move into the other part of the house so we can at least let you see some of the other things that Anne does. Another beautiful rendition that she has here. This is still the powdered
Yes,
glass.
and again that's 3 layers separated, and this is a maple frame that I have custom made, and with this one I used a lot more clear glass, and this is called Microcosm, and I have another version of it slightly different, and so I wanted actually to represent human cells and also the cells' atomic structures in the universe, and show the interdependence between the two, and also harking back to nature, which is another of my favourite themes. So I have water and sky
and all that just coming
represented
into
in
play.
an abstract way.
We have another beautiful rendition, Anne, of your photographic work here on the table. Another, you're going to have to come around this way, James, to see it. A scene of trees. And this one, Anne, when we looked at it, I don't look at bare trees anymore in the same way after looking at this photograph, because I realize how much symmetry, how much order and just art is in bare trees.
Mm-hmm.
And this certainly exemplifies that. Tell us about the is that just regular glass, frosted glass, or what have you done
Yes,
here?
it's glass that's been sandblasted, and that diffuses the light. So with a light behind this, it can look like moonlight. It can look like sunlight. So you can change it by using glass, and also the smooth surface makes it shows the lines.
A lot of the
glass,
detail.
because the detail on the branches of cherry trees, weeping cherry trees, are just incredible. And it's exciting.
Yes, it does, and as I said, it makes
photograph
me
them.
not look at blank, or at least trees anymore in the same way. We have an interesting piece that's sitting here on the table. I remember you're mentioning that in the cooling down process, that controls a lot of what the final product is. And this particular piece is like a glass sculpture, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
this is done in a mould in the kiln, and the heating and cooling stages of this, it takes actually 3 days
To cool.
to heat and
Heat
cool.
and cool.
You have to heat it fairly slowly, and you have to cool it even more slowly, otherwise it'll break or you get tiny fractures in it. And it's quite a complex process, and it's exciting, and there is a science to it. You can work out the exact amount of time that it
With the
needs to
formula
cool.
and all.
Yes.
So now she's telling me that
So-
there's a little bit of a mathematician that has to come out here.
It's a challenge, and
Yes.
I must admit I like doing it.
There's another beautiful piece here that's right next to it that is colored glass. It has inlays. Tell us about this piece.
I'll hold this up to the light as well, because it changes. It has something called dichroic glass in it, and this, when the light is reflected through it, becomes a pinkish colour,
Oh, it does, yes.
and it lights up entirely. It's designed to have light above it, and I've actually put a mirror
Put a mirror or
in the
something.
base so that all the panels light up, all 3 panels.
That almost
And-
looks like a teepee.
Yes. I went to New Mexico and came back full of geometric ideas, and
Well, that certainly is exemplary,
Um,
because it does take on a very southwestern feel.
yes, and the colours were exciting as well, and I wanted to represent visions and dreams and ideals. So I have this sun here, and different types of designs that suggest stars and scenery, different types of scenery. And this is fused and stained glass as well, and this is soldered together.
Now, you
brass
do that
poles.
yourself too?
Yes, I used to do quite a lot of stained glass work, and then I got interested in fusing. And with the fusing, you can be much more creative, because you're not dependent on the metal to join the glass together. Everything's done with heat. And then the photography, I started combining photos with glass. So in these 2 pieces, this is painting with glass and also text. These are letters that I wrote to my mother, and when she died I realised she kept them all, so it
then you
inspired
found a way to do that.
something. And then after that I started thinking of using photography. So this is a collage of about 30 photographs, and I printed them each one on paper,
On paper and then fuse them.
and then I put them behind the fused glass panels.
Well, this takes the term mixed media to a whole different level, because you certainly have then mixed glass with photos, and then you have layering here. So this is, I would say, not just mixed media, total media.
It's
and then
Yeah, the text is from an environmental dictionary as well.